Episode 152. I believe achieving success in the outdoor biz is dependent upon embracing the outdoor lifestyle and learning from outdoor leaders that came before you. If you agree, then listen up for tips, advice, and hacks about growing or starting your career in the outdoor biz. My name is Rick Sayes. Welcome to the Outdoor Biz Podcast. I'm looking forward to this episode with Sablle Sheppmann, National Sales Manager with Mountain Hardwear. But first, if you're thinking about starting your own podcast for your brand or passion project, I've created a free cheat sheet outlining 6 fundamental steps for building and starting your podcast. It has everything you need to know about planning, building, and launching. Head over to ricksayes.com and download this free resource today. Great conversation with Sablle Sheppmann today. Sablle is truly embracing the outdoor lifestyle and tells us about her family camping trips as a kid, her collegiate running career, and some other cool running experiences she's had, and a whole lot more. Enjoy. Hey, Sablle, welcome to the show.
Hey, Rick, how are you?
I'm doing
Happy
great.
to be here.
I'm doing great. Yeah, me too. Glad to have you on. I look forward to meeting you face-to-face one day.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Yeah, maybe at an outdoor retailer somewhere.
Exactly.
That'd be awesome. Or if I come out to Bishop.
Yep. Come on over to Bishop. There's plenty of playground over here to play in, so as you know.
Yes.
What was your first exposure to the outdoors?
My first exposure to the outdoors, so I guess I'll back up to where I grew up. I am born and raised in San Diego. And growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, kind of moved apartment to apartment. So vacations were a little out of the question. So my dad, I was lucky enough to learn about the outdoors from my dad and my grandparents. My dad was an Eagle Scout, and my grandma was always really involved with Eagle Scouts, kind of leading their, I don't know if they call it a troop. I know Girl Scouts, it's a troop. I don't know what it would be for Boy Scouts, but I
think it was a troop.
They were really involved as well.
Yeah, I was in a troop. Yep.
There you go. And so we would always take camping trips because it was the easiest vacation we can take, I guess you could say. And we'd always go up to, actually through Bishop from San Diego.
Nice.
Into the Sierras, and we'd camp at Green Lake and go towards Mammoth. And then being from San Diego, my grandparents would take us out to Idlewild and Joshua Tree.
Cool.
So a lot of camping.
Did you do backpacking and climbing and stuff, or just camping?
We just did camping. It was at a really young age that we did it before we can afford more than just camping. But it was mainly like, I'd say up until I was 12. So we did a lot of good hikes and stuff while we were camping, and a lot of fishing, all about fishing. So we did that a lot.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what was did you have obviously a first outdoor job? What was your first traditional outdoor job? Did you work retail at all?
Yeah, I actually came from, in college, I worked at a specialty running store.
Okay.
And so it was that specialty atmosphere where you fit people with shoes. And then I got involved into a lot of event planning there. And then from that job in college, I actually did the ski bum, tried my hand at the ski bum thing in Tahoe.
Nice. Very fun.
and worked at a ski shop in North Lake Tahoe. So that was kind of my first entry into the industry.
Very cool. And you were a graduate of the Skip Yale Future Leadership Academy, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I am a part of Class 3, graduated this summer at the Summer OR show.
Cool.
The Leadership Academy is amazing. I actually, fun story, I found out about the Leadership Academy leaving a GOA show. I met a woman on an airplane that I sat next to. Her name is, I think you might know her, Katie Wade.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's been on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I listened to her podcast. Katie, at the time, was with Timbuktu. She's now with Cliff Bar, but I sat next to her, and I like to talk to people on airplanes, so I bothered her about what notes she was taking.
Nice.
And she was working on her capstone project. So it all kind of started from there, ended up in the program. Very
cool. What did you find most interesting about it?
Honestly, I think the people was the best part of the program. It's such a unique environment because it's not your coworkers, it's not your family, it's not your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. It's such a unique group of people that understand your industry and
Right.
your job, but you can talk to about everything.
Right.
And get advice, kind of impartial advice from. So I think the most interesting part was just learning about the people coming from different positions in the industry, all different ages,
Yeah,
demographics.
you get a wide range of experience in there, so you learn about a lot of different types of jobs there are, and other things that are possible, right?
Yeah, exactly. We had a woman who was the president of her company.
Oh,
She
wow.
took it over from her father
Uh-huh.
at Burley Designs. And then you also had somebody who is on the customer support team at Scarpa. And then you had the retail perspective and the brand perspective. So it was a really interesting and unique group of people that came together. And
Yeah,
I
very
feel
cool.
like I have 35 best friends now that I could just give a call to.
Right,
So.
right. What were some of the unique challenges that you faced?
That's a good question. I'd say I have a couple. I think one is something that I think everybody in the program can agree on, and it's changed now, but at the time when you're in the program, you sort of have this imposter syndrome because you are among so many incredible people in the industry. You're like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Who am I in this room?
Right.
But it's funny, somebody raised their hand and said that during an offsite, and everybody was like, yeah, okay, so we're all feeling the same way,
That's interesting.
But you really do have a purpose on why you're there. So that mindset definitely changed, but that was one of the challenges. And then I think a second one that I still think about is we go through these amazing modules and learn about different challenges our industry faces with public lands and diversity in the outdoors.
Right.
And you kind of leave those modules and conversations with what now? That kind of question of.
And a new perspective, possibly.
Absolutely. You have one opinion, and then during these modules, you hear everybody else's opinion. You're like, wow, I never thought of it like that. But
Right.
what do we do now that the program's over to impact these things in our industry and to affect positive change?
Right.
So I think that's a challenge is, what now? Like, what do we do after we graduate together to have a positive impact on our industry? So
yeah, what's next? That's good. That's awesome. Yeah, and then you guys come out of there and are all doing great work in your own businesses, in your own brands, right? I mean, it's pretty awesome, some of the stuff that you guys are doing at each brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you take a lot from the program and kind of put it towards your role and utilize those different perspectives to be better,
Right. And I see on your, I think it was on your LinkedIn profile, you're a Division II cross-country athlete. Tell us about that.
Yes, many moons ago, but I was a runner in high school, ended up taking a scholarship opportunity at Sonoma State University and eventually becoming captain of my team and running throughout college, trying to maintain a social life and good grades.
That's a lot of work.
It definitely was. I feel like running now is even harder though, because you have a career, and so you're trying to balance that.
Right.
So things change, but I honestly found my love for running, I feel like after college when I started trail running.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, in college, I feel like you're running for your team and to hit times and all these different stats. And after college, I felt very free to, I learned more about trail running and have been ultra running. So I feel like I really found my love for running when I could just go out.
Do you have a favorite place?
Out.
Favorite place to run?
Oh yeah. I always resort. I ran it this morning actually, Mount Tamalpais.
Nice.
It's right over the Golden Gate Bridge. I live in San Francisco currently, so it is a slog of a run. It's straight up and then straight down, but you can't beat it.
Beautiful place. I bet it was wet this morning though, huh?
Yeah, it has been. I was running with one of my closest friends, Celia, who actually works for GOO, also a Bay Area outdoor company. But we were just talking about how we don't understand how people in the Pacific Northwest do it because we're used to more sunshine than this.
You're right.
We're over it. We're ready for the sunshine to come back to the Bay Area.
Everything is wet too, yeah. And you were telling me about a story. You were helping somebody on your running team or a teammate or something. What was that you were telling me yesterday?
Oh, I think a couple things I was describing to you. So this past summer, speaking of Celia, who I ran with this summer, or I ran with this morning, I ran this past summer with her in a race called Trans Rockies. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Haven't, but I'll link to that in the show notes. That's great.
Yeah, it's an amazing organization. The people that put it on are phenomenal, but it's a 6-day staged race through the Colorado Rockies.
Wow.
120 miles total, and we ran as a team. So we joke that we're still friends because you have to share a tent together. You have to come into every aid station within 2 minutes of each other.
Wow, really? That's pretty
tight.
That's
yeah.
Huh.
So a lot of time spent with Celia, but one of the best weeks of my life, getting to just run in the Rockies. One of the hardest, because it is at altitude as well.
What was the highest altitude you reached?
Oh, it was Leadville.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Or, well, actually, Hope Pass. It was, I think Hope Pass is between 12 to 13,000 feet.
Okay.
And I didn't acclimate at all. So to say I was lightheaded is an understatement.
You were
when you get
hammered,
to the top
I'll
of
bet.
Hope Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
It was pretty brutal. And the day that I passed through Leadville, actually, it's the third day of the race, and you sleep in Leadville, and it was the worst day I had out there. I just was nauseous all day from the altitude.
I bet, yeah.
And ended up basically walking majority of the day and leaned on a couple people in the race and Celia to get me through that day. But all in all, an amazing experience out there.
And who
Can't
were
say enough good things.
That must have been just physical experience too, right? How to deal with that stuff and push through it. You learn a lot about yourself. Yeah,
physical and mental, having to know that you have to wake up and do it again the next day, run 25 more miles. It was definitely mentally really challenging as well.
I'll bet. So who are some of the other mentors that have helped you maybe in your career along the way? Celia helped you through that run, right? Or Cecilia?
Yeah, Celia is, she's a peer in the industry, one of my closest friends, and I absolutely admire her in her role in marketing at GU. And then just an overall mentor in the industry. His name, he was actually my boss at a previous position I had with a company called Nathan.
Yep, I know Nathan, yep.
Yeah, so I was there for almost 5 years, and throughout my time there, my longest standing boss, his name is Brent Hollowell. Mm-hmm. He is actually currently moved on as well. He's vice president of marketing and vendor management at Fleet Feet headquarters.
Okay.
He is, if I were to choose one person that's a mentor in the industry, Brent's just never afraid to tell me what I need to hear. It's never what I want to hear.
Yeah.
But I can call him for the best advice, and it's always, I think the best part is it's impartial. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then I just admire how well he understands people. I don't think I've ever met somebody who has that level of an emotional intelligence to understand, their perspective as well as he does. So every situation, every challenging situation that I might call him for advice for, he always helps me kind of see it through a different lens.
That's awesome.
And I really admire that about him. And he has an immense amount of experience in the industry. So just leaning on him for advice and
that's the great things that mentors provide. They just give you that perspective that you didn't know you needed and didn't know that was out there, right? That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And then just life. Obviously, right. My parents, my dad, I think I mentioned it, but growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, but he started his own business and cool. Out of my grandma's garage and eventually sold it. And
what kind of business?
It's nothing that has to do with outdoor. He knew how to fix my grandma's garage really well. Huh. And my grandma was always calling on him to fix their garage door. So he started a garage door maintenance company. And
very smart.
Yeah, eventually built it up and sold it when I was in college. So
good for him.
Yeah. So I always admire that and look up to that.
Yeah, that's very cool.
For my dad. And
so tell us about your role at Mountain Hardwear. What do you do there? You're in sales, right?
Yeah, so currently I've been with Mountain Hardwear for about 9 months now. I am
Okay.
our national sales manager here. I mean, my primary role is managing our rep force nationally. We have all an independent rep force, so they aren't in-house. And then, everybody wears a lot of hats within every organization. So taking on other projects internally and, just making sure that my reps have what they need to be successful out in the field.
Right. Cool.
I always say that I toe the line between the brand and the reps. So that's kind of my role, is that balancing act.
Yep. I've been in that seat. That's a nice seat to be in.
Yeah.
Tricky seat sometimes.
Exactly.
What do you enjoy most about it?
Honestly, I feel like coming here was the best decision I could have made for my career. What I've enjoyed most is everyone jokes that I get it a lot. You came in at the right time. And I couldn't agree more.
Good.
The brand is going through a lot of revitalization, I guess you could say.
Cool.
Within what we're doing and strategy. So what I enjoy most is just the people that I get to work with every day. I'm a total people person, and I respect and admire our entire leadership team. They're amazing, and I really look up to them, and then my peers as well here. There's just so much to learn from here.
That's great. That's great. It's always good to have a great team. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a much larger organization than what I was used to at Nathan.
Right.
And it's just a really positive company culture here. And we're going to see a lot of future growth. And it's just a really good time. And there's a lot of excitement here. And
good
a lot
timing,
of energy
like
coming
they
in
said.
every day.
Good timing.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with
I feel
that.
very grateful.
Yep,
very
timing
grateful
is
to be
everything.
here.
That's good.
Yeah.
What other outdoor activities do you participate in? You still camp and run and fish, and you still run, obviously.
Yeah, I'm a big runner. I actually, I don't think it is a different activity, but I've been being a sighted guide most recently in the past couple of years within my running. So
what's that? Tell our listeners what that is.
Yeah, I know we kind of talked about it together, but for instance, it's when a visually impaired runner, when they want to run a race, they always need somebody there.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so I've recently taken up guiding, and actually this summer I'll be guiding my friend. His name's Kyle Robidoux. You can look him up. It's actually, his Insta is Blind Beer Runner.
Oh, cool. We'll link to that too.
Yeah, he'll be the first person, a visually impaired runner, towing the line at Western States 100 this summer.
Oh, awesome.
So I'll be able to, I'm lucky enough that he chose me to guide him for 25 miles of that race. He'll have 4 sighted guides, but that's another activity that I've been taking on, and it's an amazing thing to be a part of. I'm really excited about it.
I'll bet. That's great. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and then just general activities. I mean, I love backpacking. Winter, I don't run nearly as much as I'd like to because I am a weekend warrior in Tahoe every weekend.
Yeah.
I'm a snowboarder. I wish I could say I'm a good skier, but I don't know how to operate on 2 sticks. I'm the outcast here at Mountain Hardwear, actually. Everybody's these big mountain skiers.
Yeah, backcountry skiers, yeah, I'll bet. Do you have split board?
Exactly.
Do you get into the backcountry, the split board?
No, that is one of my next purchases, along with a mountain bike, because I've been renting a lot of mountain bikes recently. Okay. I'd love to get into backcountry more on a split board. So
yeah, backcountry's where it's at. I love the backcountry.
Yeah,
I don't ski anymore,
absolutely.
But it's just fabulous back there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can't beat camping.
That's
grew up
right.
doing that.
That's
so
right. Yep, you'll do that
any
your whole life.
opportunity I get. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any suggestions or advice for anybody wanting to get into the outdoor business or grow their career, follow in your steps and grow their career?
Yeah. I feel like I kind of got to where I am in the position I am today because of leaning on people. I know I keep bringing up, people. I'm a total people person, but just never be afraid to put yourself out there. Mm-hmm. If anybody's interested in getting into the business and, is like, oh, Mountain Hardwear, I'd love to work there.
Yeah.
Never hesitate to look that up on LinkedIn. Find people at that company and just reach out and ask them to go to coffee, or ask questions like, how did you get to where you are? How did you get in that role?
Mm-hmm.
I find that when you put yourself out there, you can get a lot of benefits from that.
Yeah, that's really
and
good
it's
advice.
Scary, but it's really important.
And everybody in the outdoor industry is so generous and so grateful of, that's one of the things I love about the podcast is everybody was willing to share their story and help everybody else. That's what makes the industry great.
Yeah. And everybody, I mean, I'm sure people would be touched if you reached out, because they don't get reached out to a lot,
That's true. That's right.
I went to a Camber Exchange event a couple of weeks ago, and a girl reached out to me on LinkedIn after and just asked me to go to coffee. And I was like, wow, that takes a lot. I would love to do that, and I think it's a generous industry, like you said. So anybody would be happy to chat.
Yeah, we'll put a link to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely.
Do you have any daily routines you use to keep your sanity? Do you meditate? You probably run almost every day, if not every day.
Yeah, of course, exercise and fitness is important. I feel like I have a clear mind talking to you because I ran this morning.
Yeah, right.
It's just, running for me is where I do my best thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. It's almost like a ritual and meditation. And then I always, before I leave my workspace every day, the office, I write down and take my to-do list that I already have and kind of reprioritize for the next day.
Good one.
So every day when I get into the office, I can go directly to that before I open my email and say, here's how I see my day, and prioritize. So that's really important to me as well.
One. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
How about books? Do you have any favorite books, or do you give books as gifts very often?
Yeah, this question, I knew it was coming because I listen to your podcast quite a bit.
Thanks.
And you got some good readers on
it's amazing. Some great books. I got to republish the book list. Got some great books. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you had a running list. That would be awesome. I'd love to take a look at that.
Yeah, I'll have to republish that. I published it last year, I think middle of last year, but it's due for another one. So I'll do that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a new recommendation. I'm not as big of a reader as I'd like to tell you I am. But if I had to choose, the book that I have given to friends is, I'm a huge Brene Brown fan.
Yep.
Like a lot of people are. So the book Daring Greatly, I think everybody can benefit from.
Yep, that's a great one.
I actually got it from the Leadership Academy.
Oh, cool.
And have gifted it on since, and then have been reading her book, Braving the Wilderness, recently, which has been really valuable.
Yep.
And then I listen to far more podcasts than I do reading books.
What are some of your favorite podcasts?
I love the podcast How I Built This.
Okay, don't know that one.
That one is one of my favorites. It's about how these entrepreneurs started companies. And like in the outdoor business, I mean, Yvonne Chouinard has been on it before, and others in the industry, but you have anything from Airbnb to Whole Foods, and it's the founders of those companies. So that's one of my favorites. And then every day, I guess this would be a ritual, but I listen to The Daily. So that's a good one too. It just kind of takes a current event and dives a little deeper into it. So
those are good
keep
ones.
up on my current events.
That's awesome. I'll link to all of those. Those are good ones. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
How about your favorite piece of outdoor gear under $100?
This is not a advertisement
That's okay.
or a plug. I'm sure everybody, I feel like a couple people have said that because everybody has a brand, but
most people. Yeah.
I cannot go and live without my Sea to Summit collapsible cups and plates and bowls and pots for backpacking, all under $100. And I use it for my lunches. I bring it to the park. I think it was one of the best inventions.
Yeah, cool.
I love them.
I'll link to those. I don't know those. I'll have to check those out.
Oh, they're amazing.
Sounds super handy. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them have a metal bottom, so you can cook them
on your
well,
that's even better.
Jet boil.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
exactly.
Awesome. Cool.
So
yeah, I'll link to that. That's a good one. That hasn't come up, I don't think.
Oh, there you go.
You got a new one.
It was such an easy one for me. I absolutely love them.
Everybody's got a favorite.
That's right.
Sort, yeah. As we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to ask or say to our listeners?
No, I think one thing, well, I guess yes. One thing that I always tell people, it sounds silly, it kind of ties into what I said about meeting Katie Wade on an airplane earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Never miss an opportunity to introduce yourself to the person sitting next to you on an airplane, because ironically, I met Celia, the girl I ran 120 miles with on an airplane. Huh. I got into this leadership academy and heard about it because I met Katie on an airplane.
Right.
And I've connected people to jobs in the past because of those who I've met on an airplane. And you just hear amazing stories from people who, come from all walks of life. So
that's awesome.
That is something random that I always tell everyone, because I am that person talking to you on an airplane.
Right. That's good. That's a good advice, because you never know who you're going to run into.
Exactly. And everybody has a really unique story. So
everybody
you can
has
meet
a story.
Some pretty cool people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how can people find you if they want to follow up? Just put a link to your LinkedIn profile? Link to your LinkedIn profile?
Yeah.
Okay.
LinkedIn. I'm happy to share my direct email, but I'll just give it to you so you can put it in the notes, because my name is the worst to spell.
Okay. Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes too.
And then on Instagram, it's at Sablle Brook. Again, my name is really difficult, so it's SabLleBrook.
At Sablle Brook. Okay, well, we'll link to that.
A lot of doubles. Letters.
Nothing wrong with that.
My name.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, we'll link to all that in the show notes, and hopefully some people will follow up with you. Thanks for taking time to talk with us. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I look forward to reading that book list, finding some good finds, and then also hopefully meeting you in person one day.
Meet at OR for sure, if nothing else.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right. Thanks, Sablle.
All right. Thanks so much, Rick.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. If you want more of the Outdoor Biz Podcast, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to go to theoutdoorbizpodcast.com, where you find all the episodes, show notes, and much, much more. Until next time, be sure to make time to get outside.